Dickinson, Kerry, and David Von Erich.
Hey guys, Society Reviews here with my review of the film The Iron Claw. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, then you know all about the Von Erich family. The rise of a pro wrestling dynasty that came to fame in the 1980s had a tragic, and I do mean tragic, fall. The story begins with Fritz Von Erich, who was a star of the National Wrestling Alliance back in the 1960s. However, despite having a significant star presence during that time period, he never won the big championship, which for many decades eluded his family. As the years went on, his sons grew up and they started to find themselves as key figures in the wrestling business, working for their father's promotion. Kevin Von Erich, played by Zac Efron, is the second oldest, followed by David Von Erich, Kerry Von Erich, Mike Von Erich, and Chris Von Erich. The group still became a very popular tag team in the 1980s, and their rivalry against teams such as the Fabulous Freebirds took the name recognition of the Von Erichs to superstardom within the state of Texas as well as national television. The Iron Claw is a great film for normie audiences who have not been previously disposed to how pro wrestling worked during the territory days of the 1980s. If you're a hardcore fan or if you've been watching wrestling long enough, a lot of these names that you see in this film will be very familiar to you, such as Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and Harley Race. Now, don't think that you have to be a pro wrestling fan in order to watch and understand this movie. At its core, this is a film that is all about family values. Zac Efron's portrayal of Kevin Von Erich is essentially the avatar that the audience uses to identify with the family. When it comes to the Von Erichs family, they only have two things: family and wrestling. Efron deserves a lot of credit for the physical transformation he went through in order to portray the character of Kerry Von Erich live and in person. The film is in a lot of ways a mirror of what the pro wrestling world was like back in the 1980s. So many wrestlers died young during this time period due to a combination of being on the road for most of the year while drinking, taking steroids, cocaine, painkillers, and God knows what else. A dangerous cocktail that always led to a premature death. The Iron Claw is all about the story of emotional abuse, trauma, drugs, suicide, and maintaining a family structure that is rapidly deteriorating. The biggest flaw in this film is that despite being faithful to the real life story, there are a number of characters that don't get enough shine or at least time to flesh out who exactly they were before their timely demise. At the same time, it is excusable given how there's so much lore about the Von Erichs family that can't possibly be covered in a 2-hour motion picture. Despite its flaws, The Iron Claw is certainly one of the top films of the year. However, it's not going to be an easy watch for anyone, especially if you have a checkered past with your own family. Pro wrestling may be fake, but this story certainly isn't. The Iron Claw may be a sports movie and it may be a drama, but this film is an absolutely stellar genre-bending film that gives an emotional charged performance to everyone involved, whether you're a fan of pro wrestling or not. I give this film a 9 out of 10.